Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my CRICUT Design Space. Today's video, I'm going to show you an update that I discovered in Design Space that I think that you're really going to enjoy, and I think it's going to be a really good update. So in order to access this at the time of recording, which is October 12th, 2022, you'll need to be using the beta version of Design Space. If you want to access that version, simply go to the three lines in the upper left-hand corner. Click on those and go to Settings. In your Settings option, right here, Application Experience, we want to choose Beta. It's going to tell you that changing settings may restart your application. Please save all work before continuing. I just have two shapes on my screen, so I'm not worried, so I'm just going to go ahead and click Done. It'll restart Design Space, and then I'm going to show you our new options. Now, if you want to check that you're in the beta version, you can just look at the top of your screen and it'll say beta and then what version it is. This current version is 7.20.83. And again, this is from October 12th, 2022. Now, I have two shapes because I'm going to show you our new settings. And I think it's pretty cool. They've changed a couple things around. So you're going to see some different items. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to overlap these shapes because it's going to show you better what our new options are. Then I'm just going to select both of our shapes. Now you're going to see that you have a few options, and first things that I've noticed are our group button has changed and our duplicate button has changed, and then we also have a delete button up here that looks a little bit different. So you can group these just like you would normally, and then the group button then turns into the ungroup button. So that's simple as that. They've just kind of changed that one. But what I'm really excited about is down at the bottom. You see that you have slice, combine, attach, and flatten. Combine is our new option, and I'm going to show you around it a little bit. Combine is going to offer us 4 new things, and I'm going to show you what they each do. So obviously we have Weld, which is just the usual Weld. Nothing has really changed with that. And if you click on Weld, you'll see that it combines our two shapes and it gives us just one layer in our layers panel. I'm going to go ahead and click undo just so that you guys can see kind of the difference in some of our things. So I'm going to select both of my shapes again. And instead of using Weld, I'm going to use this one called Unite. What's great about Unite is that it still gives you your welded shape, but it then also has your different selections, so your different shapes under it. So if I, for some reason, I'm like, you know what, I don't think I want to have the square there right now, I can hide my square and I'm left with my hexagon. If I want to bring my square back into it, it's still united. This is a super handy tool to use, and I think it's going to be really helpful when using Weld. You can also undo your unite. So if you decide that you didn't want them united, or in this case welded, which is basically the same thing, you can undo it now. I think this is super duper helpful, and I just love that you can do that. I'm going to unite them one more time because there is one more option where you can merge the layers. So if I click on merge layers, you'll see that now it becomes just like the original Weld where it's one piece and you can't undo that. It's done. You can't undo it unless you hit the undo button. So I'm going to go ahead and undo this. So we're back to just our square and our hexagon. I think that that unite option is going to be a game changer when you're using Weld, because you can undo it, and it's going to make it so much simpler if you decided to change something in a design after you weld it. Now our next one down is the subtract. So you can see here that it shows you a little photo, like a little picture of what it's going to do. So it's going to take whatever part is on top away from whatever part is on the bottom. So if I hit subtract, you'll notice that it took my square piece away from my hexagon piece. But what's cool is, again, you can undo your subtract. And let's say instead that I wanted to take my hexagon away from my square. All you need to do is put the square under the hexagon, select both of your items. Under combine, just choose subtract. And again, you'll see now I have the hexagon removed from my square. You can, again, just undo that. You can just undo your subtract and you're back to what you started with. I think that undo option is going to be a huge item that we're going to be able to use a lot. So I'm going to select the same shapes, and I'm just going to keep doing this with the same shapes so that you guys can really see kind of what's going on. So now our next one is intersect. So what it's going to do is it's going to remove all the parts of our shapes that are not overlapping each other. So if I click on intersect, you'll see that it just left me with this hexagon shape. These shapes are not always the best because it doesn't exactly show you what it does, but it does give you an idea. So then again, you can still go in and undo that item, and then let's put the hexagon on the bottom so that you can see the difference in what the shape looks like. So now if I do that and I choose intersect, it's going to still give me like that same shape. Intersect is a little bit odd. That's one that we'll have to play with and kind of see where we want to use that and how we want to use that in our designs. But basically, it's whatever overlaps is what's left behind. So if I were to overlap my square, let's just make the square like a little bigger, and then let's add let's just add another hexagon just so you guys can kind of get an idea. So if I make a couple of the shapes overlap each other, if I go to combine and then I go to intersect, you'll see now that we're left with just this part of the shape where all three shapes overlapped each other. That's basically what intersect does, is all the parts that are touching on top of each other is going to be what's left behind. Now again, we can undo that and we can play with our next one. So the next option that we have is exclude. So anything that is overlapped should be taken away. So if I click exclude, you're going to see all these different sections that are kind of overlapping each other that are removed. Now, in my brain, I kind of almost feel like this part should be gone too, but I'm not exactly sure how Cricut Design Space wrote that like different part of their code for Design Space for this. So if I wanted to like hide shapes, I can do that by, again, just using this little option over here with the eyeball. And you'll see that if you hide the different shapes, it changes what is removed. So it's just something that I think that we'll need to play with a little bit just to kind of get used to the way some of these work, like exclude and intersect. And I think that once we get done and figure out how to use them, we're going to find a ton of great uses for these. So I'm super excited to check this out. Now I do want to show you, if I were to use the union one, I just want to show you something. So I'm going to undo my exclude and I'm going to go ahead and unite these. And again, you'll see how we have these different shapes. If you click make it and it's united, it's just like if you welded it. So super easy, and it's a great way to use that unite option. Now I am going to do something just so we can check. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to save this as unite trial, and I'm just going to click save. I don't really care how it saves. We'll just save it like that. It's fine because I'm in beta. It's going to ask me a couple things. So I'm going to close out my Design Space. I'm going to reopen it, and I'm going to try to undo the unite. So now that we're back to Design Space, let's go back to our projects, and we're going to select that group of shapes. So our unite trial. And I'm going to click on customize. And once it loads, let's see if we can undo that unite after we save. And then I'm going to show you something else that's pretty cool that they changed in here as well. So I've selected my shape. I'm going to go down to combine. And look at that. Even after saving and closing out, I can undo it. Another cool thing that they have changed is you can double click on your layers panel and you can rename your layers. So I'm going to call this layer Hex 1. I can change my square layer to call it Fred's layer. You can do whatever kind of name you want here. So you can change these shapes and your layers names, and that's going to help you remember all of your different layers. Another cool thing is if I were to let's make a couple, let's just duplicate this just so I can show you some other things that are really fun. So let's group one set of these layers. We're just going to choose this section and I'm going to group it. But let's say, you know what, I'd really like to group this square into that layer as well. Now all you simply have to do is hold this down with your mouse, so right click on it and you can see that you can pull it. I can pull it into this group. So now it's grouped with all of these. So if I move the group, so if I take this group and I move it, look at that. How cool is that? That's so helpful. I think that is really, really handy. So like, let's say I want to add this shape to the group. I can do that. I can just put that in there, and then you're able to move things. Now I will say, if you notice, there is a little bit of a glitch right now. So like, let's say I don't want this grouped anymore. I can just pull it out. But what I noticed is if I group this and then without unclicking it, I click it again, sometimes it moves things. They do need to do a little work on that, but I'm sure they will. That's just a glitch right now. But like, how fun is that? Like, I can group everything, or I can ungroup certain parts. So if I want to change something, I can ungroup the whole thing. I love this. I love this new update to the layer, and I love the fact that I can change my layer names. That is such a great option, and I'm so excited about these new changes to Design Space. Now again, if you want to grab these changes, you're going to need to use the beta version, and obviously you're going to want to play around with them a little bit to get used to them, but I think they're going to be so helpful. Now, if you have any questions about this, please let me know in those comments down below. Let me know if you're excited about these new updates. I know I am, and I can't wait to get to use them. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.